Hey folks, Richard here, welcome to the channel and another GPU test. One thing that's become very apparent to me over this last wee while is just how good AMD's HD 7000 series cards were, and today we're going to take a look at another gem from that lineup. Now this card is a little bit of a chameleon. Have you heard of the R7 How about the 270X? And the HD 7870? Well, they're all one and the same. So the fact that AMD released and rebranded and re-released the card for nearly 4 years means that it must be worth a look. So let's find out. The 7870 is built on a 28nm processor and it's based on a Pitcairn XT graphics processor. It features 1280 shading units, 80 texture mapping units and 32 ROPs with a 2GB GDDR5 memory buffer, all connected together using a 256-bit memory interface. The GPU generally operates at a frequency around about 1 GHz and the memory runs at about 1.2 GHz. Prices at the moment, they seem to hover around about the £40 to £60 mark and a little bit more if you're in the States. It's also worth noting that this card makes up the basis for the GPU in Sony's PS4 games console, and if you want to see more about that you can click the link in the corner there. So what we've got here is a low priced card, and we're going to be sticking with the Core i5 4590 clocked at 3.7 GHz for these tests rather than the Ryzen build that I recently completed. We are however now going to be using Windows 10 instead of Windows 7, but we're still going to be using 8GB of DDR3 memory. So let's dive right into the results, and first up we've got GTA 5. Now we're running it at 1080p with FXAA on and the preset set to high with only the shaders and the shadows set to normal. With this configuration we managed to almost saturate the memory buffer and we averaged 62 FPS with minimum dips of around about 39 FPS. Next up we've got Far Cry Primal, and we're using 1080p again on the high preset but with the HD texture pack turned off. This netted us an average frame rate of 52 FPS, with the lows coming in at round about 40. Keeping on the Cry theme, we've got Crysis 3 on the high preset with 2x SMAA and 16x anisotropic filtering. This returned a result very similar to Far Cry Primal, with an average FPS of 50 frames per second and a minimum hovering above that 30 FPS threshold at 35. We'll run Battlefield 1 on the high preset, and this allowed an average frame rate to creep above that 60 FPS, which is what you want if you're going to be doing online multiplayer. The minimums, we did see a few dips to around about 40, but they were fairly infrequent and it certainly didn't detract from the gameplay experience. Testing an older title now, Tomb Raider 2013, and we can run this at 1080p on the Ultra preset, and it nets us an average frame rate of 83 with the minimums never dropping below 60 FPS. Finally, we run through the Hitman Benchmarks. This is a game that is notoriously hard on older hardware, but we still managed to return a value of 47 FPS over the course of the test. So checking over these results, I guess you could call the HD 7870 a little bit of a steal, even today. If you've got an older rig that needs a capable and cheap GPU, then you really need to look no further than this. For older titles you can max everything out and it still has the power to power through some newer AAA titles. Like we've seen, it's not shy of grabbing the bull by the horns and pumping out decent results. Now it should be noted that these tests were carried out in the same settings that I would generally test something like a 1050 Ti or a 280X, and the fact that the 7870 is not just completely embarrassed at these settings is testament to just how good this card is. It's true that the 7870 is much more comfortable at slightly lower settings, but as you've seen it's not shy of the challenge, and I really like this card. It's much more compact than my 280X and it uses a little bit less power too, and it still doesn't feel like an old card. At the time of recording this, the driver support is still good, and if you can pick one of these up for the prices that I've shown, then you can have a really decent budget gaming card to play with. So with that said, what do you guys think of the 7870? Do you think that the rebrand scheme of AMD has worked out well, and would you even consider the card or one of its variations now? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway folks, thanks again for watching this video. I've moved over to a new rendering suite for these videos, so tell me if you notice any difference. And you can consider subscribing to the channel if you've not done so already, and I look forward to seeing you all again in the next video.